So talking about community, so Anil Dash wrote a blog post called "If Your Website is Full of Assholes, It's Your Fault."
Yeah.
Hacker News is full of assholes, and I'm sorry to anyone who loves Hacker News, but the level of like hatred and vitriol that I see on Hacker News makes me never want to spend time there.
Yeah.
Product Hunt seems to be a very uplifting place, a very positive place. A, am I right, or is it a bunch of assholes? And B, how do you weed out that behavior?
Yeah, it's a couple of things really. It's part of the reason why our community is generally very supportive is a lot of these people are makers and founders themselves. And a lot of people well, I should also clarify that not everyone can comment first off. So it's very limited on the number of people that can actually contribute to the discussion. And it's mostly limited to people who are invited by other people in the community or people who have had their products on Product Hunt. And so what that means is a lot of people's introduction to Product Hunt or their first like exposure to the community is when their product is on there. And that moment when you're launching a product is very scary, but having that kind of general support happen builds this empathy that then carries through in the future so that when other people are launching, they know what it's like when you launch. And that's why there is this positivity around it.
So you can somewhat curate who can comment, and therefore bad actors are easier to weed out.
Yes, yes. And the initial thought was we literally had to do that to begin with because it was me and Nathan working on it on the side as a side project. And so we didn't have any bandwidth to like moderate and deal with spam. But then more importantly, it's really allowed us to slowly build this community rather than opening it up to everyone in the world potentially. It's kind of like when you have a party and if you have, or a dinner party with friends, like say 10 of your friends, and then 10 other random people come in and join you at dinner. They might be amazing people, but it changes the dynamic of that conversation and the tone. And so that's what we want to do is slowly build this community.
Do you have any guidelines about what is acceptable behavior, or do you just trust those people to establish norms?
Well, a lot of it is going back to the analogy of like a dinner party or a party in general. Like when you go to a party and everyone's acting a certain way, most people kind of conform to an extent, or they at least like adjust their behavior slightly. They won't go out of the way and be that guy or that woman disrupting the flow of everything else. So having this momentum of the current discussion helps with that. It kind of cements and creates this like this stakehold of what we stand for. And then a lot of it's just engaging like actively, like myself being in the comments and demonstrating. Like what I want to see is not, also I don't want to see just like great job, congrats, like that's not useful for anyone.
Yeah.
What I really want to see is honest feedback and honest discussion. And so some of that could be negative or things that are critiques, you know? It's all in how
But how do you encourage that? Like if someone's like saying, nice job, well done, love you, do you write them and say, hey, can you do more constructive things?
Yeah.
Or do you just try to lead by example?
Yeah, so if anything, we have an issue where we have too much positivity sometimes, where we do have too much of that, like, great job. And a few of those comments are fine, but like we don't want, it's not useful for anyone to see a wall of that text. So we're working on that longer term. We will adjust the comments so that the best comments, as determined by the community, and possibly also your social graph, will surface to the top. So there are ways that we can, from a product perspective, encourage more of that. And then also from the negative standpoint, we've had a few people say negative things, and then sometimes it's just like you just call them out and say, hey, like respectfully, like tell them like this is not what you should say.